So the Nvidia Shield Pro might be one of the strangest pieces of technology I've ever owned. This thing came out 2019 and somehow 7 years later, we're still comparing it to brand new streaming devices. But here's the problem. The regular tube Nvidia Shield TV has become increasingly difficult to find, hasn't been a new Shield since 2019, and at some point we have to start asking the question, what happens if the Nvidia Shield really disappear? Most importantly, if my Shield died tomorrow, what would I replace it with? So today we're going to take a look at some of the best options available in 2026. I've got budget options, premium options, Google TV boxes, and Apple TV 4K. And by the end of this video, we're going to answer one question. Has anyone actually built a true Nvidia Shield replacement? So we're going to jump right into it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Let's go. Now before we start throwing replacements at the Nvidia Shield, we need to understand something. Why has the device lasted so long? So if all you want to do is watch Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, or Prime Video, you absolutely do not need the Nvidia Shield TV. There are devices out there that cost a fraction of the price that can handle basic 4K streaming just fine. The reason people still love the Shield, especially enthusiasts, is everything else that it can do. You have gigabit Ethernet, you have USB ports for external storage and accessories, you have excellent media playback, you have Plex support, including the ability to run Plex Media Server directly on the Shield Pro. You have AI upscaling, and you have one of the biggest features home theater enthusiasts, and it is support for formats like Dolby True HD, Dolby Atmos, and DTS HD Master Audio Pass-Through. And despite its age, the Tegra X1 chip still delivers a surprisingly responsive experience. So that's gonna be our benchmark, and I'm not looking for something that can just open Netflix. A cheap streaming stick can do that. I'm looking for something that could actually take the Shield's place in my entertainment center, and we're gonna start with probably the most obvious choice for most people. So first up, the On 4K Pro. This is the 2026 version, and if you're watching this thinking, I just want something inexpensive that works, this might be all you need. The On 4K Pro gives you the Google TV experience, plenty of storage compared to basic streaming sticks, Wi-Fi 6, Ethernet, USB connectivity, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, HDR10, and surprisingly a really good remote. And the crazier part is the price. Now we're talking about a device that costs significantly less than Nvidia Shield TV. For normal streaming, I think On makes a ton of sense. You have Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, Prime Videos, YouTube TV, can run the Plex client on here, not the Plex server, and all the everyday stuff most people actually use. And because you're getting Google TV, the overall experience is gonna feel familiar to someone coming from Nvidia Shield TV. But here's the distinction. On 4K Pro is a very good streaming device. That doesn't automatically make it a Shield replacement. Now, if you're a home theater enthusiast who bought the Shield specifically for advanced audio pass-through, local Plex Media Server functionality, and broader power user capabilities, you're gonna start noticing some compromises. But for probably 80 to 90% of people, you may not care, and this is why On is my value option. Next, we're going to have Google's own Google TV Streamer 4K, and this is where things get a little bit interesting now. And that's because if you're coming from the Nvidia Shield TV and you want something modern, clean, and officially supported directly by Google, this seems like the obvious answer. You get Google TV, you get significantly more storage than the old Chromecast generation, you get gigabit Ethernet, you get smart home integration, you get Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and overall, it's a very polished streaming experience. But here's my problem. If I'm primarily streaming Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, Prime Videos, and other major services, why am I buying this instead of the On? And that's the question I would ask before I spend the extra money. The Google TV Streamer 4K is a good device, but if we're specifically asking whether it's successor to the Nvidia Shield Pro, honest opinion, I don't think so. It's really designed to be a premium mainstream Google TV device, and the Shield was always something more than that. To someone who wants an official premium Google TV experience, this is definitely an option, but power users definitely keep watching. So now we're getting to where I think Shield owners should pay attention, the BuzzTV G Series, because this approaches the problem a little differently. Now, instead of trying to build your own tiny streaming stick, BuzzTV gives you the hardware that start looking a lot more like what enthusiasts actually want. Talking about 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, USB connectivity, gigabit Ethernet, and you're still getting a certified Google TV experience. The combination immediately makes the G Series interesting, and one of my biggest complaints with streaming hardware over the years has been manufacturers giving us barely enough storage. So 8 gigs or 16 gigs, then you install your apps, you download some updates, cache starts building up, and suddenly you're managing storage on a device connected to a giant 4K television, and it just gets ridiculous. With 64 gigs you get from the BuzzTV, you do get some breathing room, and having gigabit Ethernet is another big advantage for anyone streaming high bitrate content across their network. So on paper, this is starting to sound more like a modern Nvidia Shield alternative. You have Google TV ecosystem, you have significantly more storage, have wired networking, you have USB expansion, and you've got hardware aimed towards enthusiasts. But even here, I wouldn't say it's a one-for-one Shield replacement. The Shield has had many years of maturity behind it, and there are still specific home theater capabilities that makes the Nvidia Shield unique. However, if I wanted a modern Google TV box for more power users, the BuzzTV G Series would definitely be on my shortlist. And now we've got the wild card, the Apple TV 4K, and I'm going to say something that might upset the Android crowd and the Apple crowd. Apple TV 4K might be the best pure streaming device in this comparison. Performance is excellent, interface is extremely smooth, app support is excellent. Apple has a strong track record of software support, and the hardware inside these devices is frankly overkill for watching television. So if your priorities are speed, stability, mainstream streaming, the Apple TV is definitely hard to beat. However, I still don't consider it a direct Nvidia Shield replacement, and the reason is simple. The type of person who bought the Nvidia Shield because they wanted maximum flexibility isn't necessarily the same person Apple designed the Apple TV for. Apple TV gives you a very polished ecosystem. The Shield gives you a very flexible ecosystem. Those aren't necessarily the same thing. Now, if you want streaming apps to launch quickly and work consistently, Apple TV is fantastic. But if you're coming from the Shield because of Android, USB expansion, sideload and Plex server, advanced local media playback, and enthusiast level flexibility, you're going to have to change the way you're using your streaming box. So after looking through all these devices, I've realized something. Nvidia Shield doesn't really have one replacement. If you're an average streamer, you just want something affordable that handles the major streaming services, I'll look towards the On 4K Pro. If you want Google's premium experience and gigabit Ethernet and a clean Google TV setup, the Google TV Streamer 4K is a great option. If you want something that's geared towards power users with 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, gigabit Ethernet, as well as expansion, the BuzzTV G Series becomes very interesting. None of these are going to give you an entire Nvidia Shield replacement in one package. You really need to lower your expectations. But for me, if I had to pick one of these devices out of the lineup, I would definitely go with the new BuzzTV G Series. Just some of the standout features, the fact that they finally Google TV certified, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, USB expansion, and you do get the openness of being able to sideload on this device. So definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section, especially for Nvidia Shield owners. If you lost your Shield today and you couldn't purchase a new one, what would you use to replacement? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.